Let's move into our starts and sits and try to rapidly get through these to finish the show as we are overtime again.
What a shock.
What a shock. It's always the first game. You just got to get the first game out of the way.
We know it was really the first two games I think we spent about 20 minutes on.
Yeah, and it was gross. Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay is my start quarterback of the week. I love Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay. He's been relatively decent this year. He's probably been in and out of your starting lineup because he's been up and down all year. So I would start Matt Ryan against Tampa. And then Dak Prescott at New England. This is a game that we both agreed on. I don't know if you changed your sit quarterback.
I did.
You did. Okay, so this is one we can talk about for like 2 seconds. Dak is the number 3 quarterback in fantasy this year.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to feel like very gross sitting Dak Prescott. As a Dak Prescott owner, only Dak Prescott owners know how
it's smart.
feels.
It's so smart.
It is a wise decision to go out on the waiver wire, pick up Sam Darnold, pick up Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston's available, maybe even Jameis Winston, Matt Stafford, like somebody else. Because if
you have Matt Ryan on your team,
you're going to be mad if Dak gets 25 points. And Baker gets 20. And you're gonna be like, "Oh my, should have started Dak Prescott." The way I'm looking at it this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm gonna stream a quarterback this week because I don't trust any quarterback against New England. New England averaged 7 fantasy points. 7 fantasy points against quarterbacks.
Other than if you take out Lamar Jackson, who I know went off against New England, but he's gone off against everybody in the league this year. If you would have taken him out, not a single quarterback in fantasy this year has done anything.
I just don't know if Dak Prescott is even remotely close to matchup proof. We had that one game, the hardest game of his season against the Green Bay Packers defense, who was playing very well at the time. It was like a top 5 against quarterbacks defense. He had 25 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Against New England, I don't think that trend changes, but this is the way that I look at it. You stream a quarterback, you get the points that you need from your quarterback. If Dak ends up having a really good game, then okay, he had a really good game against New England.
Matchup proof.
I can start him against other guys. Yeah. So I'm sitting Dak Prescott this week because it's late in the season. You're fighting for your playoff hopes, or maybe you're fighting for your bye week if your league has one. But these are very important wins.
Everyone take it from me. Last week I chose to keep my starter in and ride or die, and I had Josh Allen sitting on my bench who got 36 points.
You couldn't sit.
I should have. I thought about it, and I was like, that would be smart.
But you don't sit a top 3 quarterback.
And in my head, well, you're doing it this week, aren't you?
Yeah, but Dak Prescott, if you go on fantasypros.com, they rank him like 7 rest of season, whereas Deshaun Watson is ranked 3rd rest of season. So it's like you kind of have to start. There's not a lot of teams that I would say bench Deshaun Watson. Like now, I am morally conflicted that I'm sitting Dak Prescott this week. I don't like it, but it's.
I know. Well, that's why. That's why I wanted to sit Deshaun Watson.
This is the problem.
And I was like, I can't do it. He's just Deshaun Watson.
I spent the entire offseason. I knew this was going to happen. It's easier said than done, and I'll talk about it all next offseason. This is why streaming quarterbacks is the way you should go, because you run into this situation where I lost a playoff game last year because I basically rode or died with Andrew Luck, and he scored 9 points in my playoff game. 9 points. And I'm bitter. Yes, but I'm like, you stream quarterbacks. If you get
like Mahomes or
you're gonna.
or Lamar.
I guarantee you, unless you have Mahomes, Lamar, or one of the top 3 quarterbacks. I picked up Dak, and he's been playing like a top 3 quarterback. So as of right now, I'm okay. But I'm next couple weeks because it's bad matchups. I'm streaming. But you stream the whole season, you're gonna get it right 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you might have a crap game, but if
you'll have your Gardner Minshew.
You'll have your Gardner Minshew. But you're not going to have these situations where you go, oh my God, I have Deshaun Watson against a really good defense.
And I have Josh Allen on my bench against Miami.
You don't run into that situation. And if you're really good at streaming, like I think I did, I went back and I checked all of my streaming options for the entire season, and I've hit on I've hit on just about at least one guy ever, because at the beginning of the season we gave like 2 or 3. But since we started giving one like 7 weeks ago, I've hit basically every single time on the streamer to get 20 or more fantasy points. So it's like, streaming quarterbacks ain't hard. It's not a hard thing that you just got to pick the right guy.
Yeah.
Now Baker's going to get 12 points this week just to like slap me in the face
at home against Miami.
But it's like, when you look at this whole situation, streaming quarterbacks is the way to go because you don't run into that situation where you just got to stick with them. Even Mahomes.
Yeah.
16 points this week. That probably costed people some games. Even though, 16 points is good for Baker Mayfield. You probably looked at Mahomes and was like, why didn't I get
more?
I drafted him with a second-round pick. Why didn't I get 25?
Yeah.
But you had to ride with him because it's Mahomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that's why I stream quarterbacks. Or I try to stream quarterbacks, but I'm an idiot, and I just fall into the abyss of running with a quarterback the rest of season. Go ahead with your starts and sits.
We actually had we had all the same starts, and we had 2 of the same sits.
Yeah.
So I had to change a lot. So my original start was Matt Ryan as well.
Yeah.
I switched it, kept the same game, Jameis Winston. I think the game's going to be a shootout, which means Jameis Winston's going to throw the ball 60 times.
Unless it's raining too hard.
It's indoors. So.
Oh, sorry.
Perfect weather for throwing the football.
Okay, go ahead.
And then my sit, I'm also staying in the same game. And this was not intentional, but Tom Brady, I know it's at home, which he does typically do better at home.
Yeah.
But this just feels like another 17-10 game, like it was last week, Patriots Eagles.
It'll be gross.
It's going to be like a gross, rainy, disgusting football game.
Let's go, Pates. Let's go.
Yeah, and Brady hasn't really been a good fantasy option lately anyway.
Start of the week at running back for me is Jaylen Samuel against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has been very bad against running backs this year. Jaylen Samuels is the only guy. The problem is that you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I've started him before and he just sucks. And he might have a bad week. But it's a good matchup.
It's a great matchup.
He's on the road, which sucks, but he's basically like right now the only option on the team. So
yeah, I think
he very well might get 10 targets in this game.
Yeah, if if James Conner does not play this week, I think Jaylen Samuels is a fantastic play.
And then my sit is Jamaal Williams against San Francisco.
Okay. And my start might come out of the left field a little bit, is Kareem Hunt against Miami.
Interesting.
I think the Browns, for once this season, has a chance to really control the game. And if that happens, they might be able to use Kareem Hunt a little bit more in a great matchup. The Dolphins have struggled this year against running backs. So if you have Kareem Hunt on your team, I think you should start him. And my sit is any of the Colts running backs because I do not know if they're going to use any of them.
Sounds good.
Or which ones they will use.
My starter wide receiver, Allen Robinson against the Giants. I know it hurts. I know he's been up and down, but if there's any week that you could probably have a good game, it's against the Giants. And then my sit at wide receiver is Golden Tate at Chicago. Chicago has been very good against wide receivers. It's kind of against the passing game in general. It's kind of the only thing they've been good at on defense this year. But Golden Tate is a sit.
My start of the week at wide receiver is Calvin Ridley. He's playing against the Buccaneers at home, who are the worst defense against wide receivers this season. And with Hooper still out, he's probably going to get like 10 targets, or at least a lot of targets. And then my sit is Deebo Samuel. I know the hype is real. I love the kid too, but it's not a good matchup. And if one of George Kittle or Emmanuel Sanders comes back, that will take targets away from him. So everybody's riding the train right now. I get it. I like him too, but don't start him this week.
My start tight end of the week,
Chris Herndon,
is Chris Herndon / Ryan Griffin.
The ghost of Chris Herndon.
The ghost of Chris Herndon. Ryan Griffin versus Oakland. Start him. Okay. And then my sit is Noah Fant at Buffalo. He came off 7 points. The owner of Noah Fant's probably gonna be like, the breakout game's coming. It's not. I'm sorry. Against Buffalo. Sit him.
Yeah, we actually had the exact same tight ends as well. So pretty much everybody we're saying this week we agree upon.
That's a first.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you'll agree with this. My start of the week at tight end, another Browns player, David Njoku. He's expected to make his return this week.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
But he's home against the Miami Dolphins.
Who cares?
In his last game, his only game he played this year, he had 12 fantasy points.
All right.
I'll take it. In a week, you took my guy, okay? And my sit at tight end, you'll probably like this one, is Gerald Everett against the Ravens.